Hey nerds! Sage is here. Are you all excited over that update yesterday? Have you been, looking at any of the characters that have got new weapons? Or are you still contemplating what to do with all that, information and the new weapons and Divine Dew, which is such a rarity in some cases? I've only I think I've done 2 legendary weapons and how I've worked. It's a lot, but still, nonetheless, exclusive weapons are a thing, and there are a lot more now with the new update, so let's go over some of the best effects and talk about why maybe you might want to upgrade them if you decide to. Because, well, a lot of them have changed how the characters work fundamentally, and this is probably something that needs to be talked about because I'm just going to take a second. This is something that I hope IS does a lot more of now. Goes back to these previous characters that, are kind of fumbling. They're not doing terribly by any stretch, but, they could stand to get a bit of a boost when it comes to a lot of these things, a lot of these advantages, and it's not oftentimes we do that in gacha games because it's just much more easier and typically a lot more, productive financially to just release a new version of the character. Just go in there and be like, oh, hey, you like Felicia? Well, here's her now. She's much more powerful. She's wearing a bathing suit. That's usually how it goes. Don't ask. But anyways, that's just typically how it is. So for them to do this, it's definitely a plus. So let's just start with that. Let's talk about the personal favorites and the most amazing refinements that I personally see as really great. So first up, I gotta give mad props to Felicia. She is the unit that I honestly I'm amazed by her weapon because of its ability, but that's just saying so little about it. First up, the ability to target the foes lower of the 2 stats. A lot of people were confused about this. I thought it was pretty obvious. Just if a character has more defense and less res, it'll instead do magical damage. It's a more faithful interpretation of her plate from Fates, in a sense. So naturally, this means that she has a refined Dragonstone just without the whole restriction to range, in a sense. So no longer will you have to be, it's not aiming for any character that's wielding a bow or a tome or anything like that. This is just straight whatever character you're aiming for, which does benefit her a lot more. Felicia does not really have the attack to it, which, I hate to say, but that's just kind of how it is. BST is BST. It's not going to fix some of the problems that some of these earlier characters have, but it is going to refine them. Get it? Get it? Anyways, still, nonetheless, Felicia is a lot easier to get, and I expect to see 40 plus 10 with this weapon being atrocious in some ways. And then, of course, we need to add in the fact that, well, she also has her refinement, which is basically steady or warding breath, just in plate form. It's plate breath. I'm coining that phrase now. So this one is definitely something that's going to be crazy to see, especially with the res that she has. Imagine, if you would, a Reinhardt attacks her. She's going to trigger her, her special skills right away. She's going to trigger it pretty quickly, and she's going to absolutely obliterate that poor Reinhardt. It's going to be disgusting. And this means that she is now a very strong mage check as well, but she can also be a very strong other check, like, archers and things like that. She won't survive very well against them. She might get obliterated pretty easily, but if you happen to have her planned out well enough, she may be able to really be used a lot more. The thing is, with these characters, and a lot of them, it's going to be odd to see them move forward because, again, BST is BST. We're not going to be able to change that. They would have to release a newer version of her to show you a bit better. And unfortunately, as you can see, even with all of this, mine barely gets 40, but then again, she's 40, neutral. So she has no improvements over that. I'm certain someone out there probably has a really badass Felicia, so if you happen to have one, send her my way, and I would love to see it. So, let's talk about the other one that I really enjoy. The ones that oh my goodness, did I really click that? Ah, boy. Anyways, let's talk about the really powerful weapons that have come along with this that are just amazing. So, personally, I'm either going to go with either Sheeta or Felicia. I'm probably going to go with Sheeta because of how she works. Now, just so we're clear, Wing Sword is not exactly the most amazing thing out there, at least base value from its base, because it basically is, hey, this weapon, it's a good against armored and cavalier, which for her is a good niche to have. For her, it means that she's going to go in and she can really wreck those horse emblem or armor emblem teams, and that's a good thing for her to have. But then you go and you refine it, and it gets even weirder from there, where she gets Flashing Blade, and her weapon takes on more of a form like Ira's. Ira's blade has Flashing Blade in it, but does not have the effectiveness of that skill. It does not have the armor killer or the horse killer. So instead, now we have to look at the possibilities here. So the thing, of course, is that you can't really compare the two. You can't really compare Sheeta to Ira, because Sheeta doesn't have the attack. She does have the speed, though. And if you were to remove, at least if I were to remove Life and Death here, as you can see, she would gain a lot more res and a lot more defense, but she'd, of course, go down to 42 attack and 41 speed, which is not the best out of the options, but that's still a very beefy speed value. And if you happen to have her, she's going to be able to trigger certain things like Iceberg, which, resistance based, and do a lot of damage fairly quickly. It's going to be interesting to see how well this works out. I don't know if Sheeta's going to climb very much, but she will climb quite a bit, at least from what I can see. It's going to push her even further in the meta in some ways, at least against a lot of the current meta, which is right now I'm seeing a lot of armored emblem, I'm seeing a lot of horse emblem in most cases. Sadly, it does not seem dragon emblem is going to be touched too much, but I do want to give a highlight to our good boy Raven, who gets Basilicos, and just to show you an example, pretty sure their name is Marbels. I'm just going off of that because of Mabel. You use Mabel a lot in your icon. I love your arena videos, by the way. But as you can see, this is an example of Raven. And by the way, check out their videos in the description below. They do great work. And they, of course, decided to pack on Basilicos and go as crazy as they possibly can to try and make a really powerful Raven. Yeah, that's a Raven, all right. And you get the idea with this. Life and Death 6 is now a thing, and he can naturally hit 64 damage, and that's at 40 plus 2. Just imagine where that goes once it goes beyond that, and, that's without, I believe that is without the Water Blessing. I could be wrong. I will need to make sure I'm pretty sure that is without, oh wait, yeah, that is without the Water Blessing, which when he gets it, he will have 52 speed. Thumbs up, my goodness. So yes, this is a scary prospect, but the thing is, I know people are going to be like, what about the 9 res? But it doesn't really matter about the 9 res when you can explode that enemy as quickly as possible. Even with, a color disadvantage, he's going to be able to just stomp most mages who might come in. Hell, he might be able to absolutely obliterate most dragons if he really wanted to. Especially when you consider the fact that he's an earlier unit, probably a lot more accessible, and I'm sure a lot of those people who have that plus 10 Raven nowadays are just like, I'm gonna get you. Honestly, when it comes down to a lot of this, there is a lot of capability and prospect with this. Now, I'm not saying that, I'm not going to be touching on Hinoka or Marth, because unfortunately, while Marth has a lot of accessibility with his new Faucian thing, the ability to, hey, here's drive everything within 2 spaces during combat, I don't really know if that would be worth wasting your Divine Dew on it. And then, of course, we have and then, of course, we have Hinoka. Hinoka, she gets a little bit more of, a a bonding effect, to give you an example. So, just looking at this, Hinoka Spear, she gets, a attack and speed bond during combat if she's near a flying or infantry ally, which, when given her additional effect of guidance, it makes more sense. When you upgrade her weapon, she gets guidance on it, so, units can teleport to her as long as they're within certain range. Which guidance is great, but it's such a unique ability that it really is situational at best. So Hinoka gets a little bit of a slide there. I mean, not to say that her spear is not great. It's a really good advantage that she has. It's just that when it comes to refinement, she kind of got a little bit screwed there. Now, the next one I really want to talk about is Alm, because Alm got such a weird weapon that's supposed to represent something from his game that really just shows how much he's moved up. I've seen people have sent me videos showing me how it works. So, you know, showing me what they've been doing, and oh man, so basically it's supposed to represent double line, I believe, which was from his game, of course. So, and when it comes to that, yeah, that's exactly what this is gonna be. Oh, goodness. So, from my understanding, if you actually do it correctly, it counts it as a brave weapon in a sense. So, essentially, if you happen to, you know, get his speed up even further, he's gonna be able to quad, at least reliably well, at least from what I can tell. So, that's gonna be crazy. That's a really unique weapon and something that I feel he really definitely needed. But the real power comes from a lot of the other units. When it comes to Falchion and when it comes to Falchion upgrades, at least, I really think Alm and Crom, you know, or at least the Awakening, the Awakening Falchion users, they get a really nice buff. But you know, that's really up to you. With the Falchion users from Awakening, they get basically attack, res, everything bond, you know, in one single spell swoop, and it's something that really can help them out. Especially when it comes to dealing a lot of damage and maybe sucking up some damage in return. Honestly, I really think that when it comes to Falchion users, I think the Awakening characters got it really great. Alm is kind of an outlier in a way, and something that's really, you know, promising, but I'm not too certain on where to sit on that. And then finally, of course, we have this, which is just, hey, look, you know, now we can run Distant Defense 9 on a character, because why not? Yeah, that's something that can be ran on Zephyl, meaning, oh my god, he's gonna have plus 18 magical, you know, and physical defense when attacked from range. That's troubling, to say the least. That's going to be disgusting in a lot of ways. Granted, you do have to give up, you know, death blow to do that, but still, this means a lot of different changes for our good friends. But when it comes to pure weapons advantages, I really say if you really want to try and push these when it comes to weapons, Felicia is a new thing altogether. Her new anti-meta, you know, at least, I wouldn't say anti-meta, but anti-mage, anti-capabilities are just amazing. This will be something that's worth looking into, but I'm not too certain on how well it's going to work out with her BST. Sheeta, on the other hand, gets a lot more advantage with this because it means that she's able to trigger things a lot faster. She has the decent speed. She does not have the attack. That's one thing that you're going to be noticing, is that attack and speed are kind of something that these characters are lacking. But if you happen to have certain abilities like Swift Sparrow and things like that, you could really make Sheeta really shine in some ways. Honestly, I expect to see a lot of these characters move up in the fold. Sheeta, Felicia especially. Raven is definitely going to be getting up there, but he is going to be that glass cannon that people are going to, you know, if you don't play him right, he's going to die a very, very painful death very quickly. And then, of course, when it comes to Falchion users, Marth kind of got a little screwed. Alm got a really unique passive, and, you know, the lovely, lovely Awakening characters that use Falchions got a really nice bond, you know, ally bond skill. And then, of course, distant counter. All in all, I would say prioritize characters like Felicia, Raven, and Sheeta over those. And then if you're going to move into Falchion, Alm is a really great prospect. And then, of course, go Crom and then Marth. And if you really are going to go with our good friend Zephyl, he will be able to tank things a little bit better. I know people were expecting like distant counter for him, but you know, that's just that's just not how it goes. Personally, that's me, at least. I'm gonna go with Sheeta first. I want to build her into something amazing, but I want to know what you guys think when it comes to these weapon refinery changes. What do you think of these characters? Do you think they're going to be built upon? What characters would you like to see get their next weapon upgrades as well? Because all of these characters have options. All of them are now going to be able to be expanded upon in future updates as well, and I'm hoping they'll do more like this. And I would love to see what you guys want to think of when it comes to these characters. There's a lot of them, a lot of options, a lot of possibilities. So from there, that's about it, guys. Personally, I'm going to be leveling up Sheeta now. Jesus, I can't believe I'm saying that. See you all very soon. Thanks for watching, and I hope you had a great day. Bye!